Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a pick a card reading for the full moon in Aries, which is today. Another name for this moon is the harvest moon. So I wanted to do a reading about like what it is that you're harvesting. What have you worked a long time towards and are now sort of reaching this culmination point? That's sort of the general vibe that I wanted to do for a reading. So that's the overall theme. There are 3 groups. You can find them in the description box below, but I'm just gonna jump right into it. So group 1, what are you harvesting? We have here at the bottom of the deck Queen of Wands, the Queen of Ink, and then we have the Hermit, the Lovers, and the Tower, which was beneath that. So I feel like this is telling the story of like what it is that you are coming from, where it's kind of like whenever I see this Tower, like impossible to ignore. I almost left this one out because it's kind of like, I feel like this is the past though, where it's like I feel like there was perhaps some sort of Tower moment from your past, or that was in the past, that perhaps interrupted something. Like with the Lovers card, it could be a relationship or just like something that you were committed to, right? Like it was just an interruption to something that you love, or however you want to phrase that. Because, and especially because we have the Hermit, it's like finding yourself on the outside of something, or like having to do like a soul searching journey kind of thing, individually, in isolation, perhaps on your own, because of whatever this Tower moment was, right? So there was a Tower that isolated you perhaps from a loved one or something that you love. But it's like you're here at the Queen of Ink, which is really lovely because it feels like there's some aspect of so the ink or the wands element for me talks about like your fire, your passion, also like your ability to create. And it also like talks about, for me, like success and like creativity and finding success in what it is that you are creating. So you're at the Queen stage now is kind of how it's feeling to me. And then at the bottom of the deck for this deck that I'm using, the Toadstool's Growth and the Dragon Power, which I feel like, because this one talks to me always about like while you're sleeping, some sort of transformation is happening. So the sleeping aspect of it might just be sort of like perhaps you're in this sort of rest stage, or you were in a rest stage. Perhaps you are still a little bit, like, because before I started your reading, I was just getting this feeling of being like completely exhausted. So you might be feeling that way, like you've been on this journey for a while, but there's a lot of growth happening that has happened, I want to say, in this sort of period of rest. If you've been in an extended period of rest and you're discovering some aspect of, or perhaps rediscovering, or finding some other aspect of like what gives you power, or where you can find your power, or like what drives you perhaps, right? Like what motivates you. So there's like a hair on my face, or something like that. So that's the overall energy. And we're gonna get into the actual cards. So the first 2 cards that we have here are this Wisdom Owl Spirit and the Butterfly Spirit Transformation, which I really love because of the wings in this background. So if we start here, I feel like this is what you're harvesting, right? The wisdom, some sort of wisdom about a situation or about yourself, or however you want to phrase that. And I feel like it's like this is playing perhaps like 2 roles, where I feel like at the beginning of this journey, because it's showing me here the Page of Wands and the Magician card, right? So I feel like at the beginning of this journey, you were sort of in this page energy, right? With the Magician, like wanting to create something. But I love this so much because it talks about process to me. So rather than focusing on the outcome, it's focusing on the process of creating something. And it's like, I feel like you are absolutely finding some sort of success here with this Wisdom card. I feel like because this card to me is representing sort of like a teacher, or having like a vision about what it is that you are trying to achieve, right? Like of course this Magician card talks about like doing things one step at a time, creating something out of nothing, and each sort of step is a step in the right direction, even if it's not quite at the outcome stage yet. So I feel like that's sort of the overall lesson that you've been learning, is like how to look at the process rather than the outcome. That's what this Wisdom card is talking about. And it could be that you had perhaps like a teacher or a mentor or something, or somebody to help keep you focused, is how it's coming through, right? Like somebody to help keep you on track, or to provide teaching or learning from this for this experience, like how to focus on the process, or like showing you step by step what it is that you need to do next, or something like that. And here you have the butterfly transformation, which I love, because it's like it's showing me this, like this was the idea, this was the goal, this was the outcome, and it's like you finally have something very tangible, like very physical evidence, or like you have the actual product, or the final outcome is achieved, is what this is talking about. And with the pearl in the hand, right, it wasn't necessarily an easy journey, is kind of how this is feeling. But I want to put these two cards together, the Queen of Ink and the Butterfly Spirit, because the poses are so similar, right? Like holding the sunflower and then holding the pearl. So it could be something like the sunflower is such an interesting symbol, because there's it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go into why it talks to me about this, but the sunflower to me is representing this sort of like something that you didn't necessarily intend to be the outcome, which is interesting. It's like something that you didn't look, or you didn't plant purposely, is what's coming through. Like you didn't expect there to be this pearl, is kind of how it's coming through. So there may be some sort of surprise in this for you, because I feel like there's like something unexpected ahead. It's like you're at this point where you've been actively working towards, right, like a particular part of your journey with the ink. It's like you started here at this page, you're at the Queen, you've achieved a specific, perhaps, point in your journey that you can like physically see evidence of in your life, but there is something unexpected that perhaps you did not intend to be a result of this journey, that is actually very beneficial, or that it gives you some sort of like joy, or like an unexpected gift or happiness or something like that. But we also have here the Two of Cups and the World card. So this Two of Cups is why I feel like there's some sort of like maybe like a teacher or a mentor, because I'm seeing this as being like you trying to create or manifest or work at some sort of goal, but perhaps getting distracted. And so there's like a teacher here in the background who's trying to keep you on task or keep you focused. Like they're encouraging you to move along, or like to keep going, or to stay focused on what it is that you are supposed to be doing so that you don't fall behind, perhaps, or you don't get sort of caught up in distractions. Maybe something like that. Speaking of distractions, so somebody here with the wisdom card to keep you on track is kind of how this is feeling. But I feel like this wisdom card is also talking about, especially because this is the transformation is coming out after that, is that I feel like you've achieved some level of what this one was teaching you, right? It's like you've gotten to that sort of mastery point, perhaps, as well, with the world card, right? It's like you were learning from this one, but at the same time you've also reached some level of mastery that they have, right? Because it's like you have your own set of wings, or that kind of thing. It's like you've reached this magician kind of energy, right? Like, because the magician is one, right? It's the first major arcana, not including the Fool. And then you also have the World, which is the last major arcana. So moving from the magician to the World, which is an incredible progression. And then here at the end, we have this Moonlight Enchantment magic card, which is the full moon energy, right? So it could be this full moon, it could be the next one. What's really interesting is that every time I see this card, I think this is a bear. Which is really interesting, but it's actually, I feel like it is actually a wolf, right? Because it is howling. It is howling. But it always looks to me like a bear. I've never seen it as a wolf until like today when I was looking at it. I was like, is this a wolf or a bear? I'm actually not sure still. So there could be something here about like something unexpected that is perhaps like, I feel like you've perhaps been receiving indications of it in like your physical environment, or just like intuition based, or like perhaps even in your dream state, right? Like feeling perhaps receiving like intuitive hits about what this could be. But I feel like because it's sort of coming in with this moon energy, it's not clear yet, or it's still sort of in mystery a little bit. Like you're not quite seeing it clearly yet. It's kind of how it's feeling. It's coming through with this energy, which is really interesting. The King of Cups, the Temperance card, and the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups. So it's some sort of wish fulfillment, right? It's like receiving a gift. And I feel like it exceeds your expectations is what's coming through here, because it's kind of like being so happy to receive a gift. So in a sense, it is something that you asked for, but it's still a surprise is what's coming through. Something that you asked for, but still a surprise. It's coming through with the King of Cups. And this Temperance card is kind of coming through as being sort of like... like you can't speak about it yet, or like or whoever this King of Cups is, if this is, because this feels like somebody coming in, it kind of feels like the Hermit energy. So it could be associated with the Lovers, but it doesn't have to be. But they have a lot of love for you is kind of how this is feeling, or the situation has a lot of love for you, but it might be that they're not expressing yet, or like it's like they can't speak about it yet for whatever reason. It feels kind of like again with the Temperance, they're waiting for something, like waiting for something to pass, or waiting until they can share the news is kind of how that's feeling to me. But it is a wish fulfillment. It's like once it does arrive, right? It's like waiting for Christmas or something like that. It doesn't have to be that exactly, but it's like there's a certain point, especially here with the wolf howling, it has to reach a certain point. I feel like maybe it hasn't gotten there yet, but it is arriving is how that's feeling. So some sort of unexpected gift from this journey that you've been on that has to do with like your creativity, your passion, success, happiness, something like that. Okay, group 1, I'm gonna end it there. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment down below. If you're interested in a personal reading, you'll also find my website in the description box. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Hi group 2, let's get started with your reading. So the question is, what are you harvesting this harvest full moon? And we're starting here at the overall context. 4 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, and the Knight of Wands. So these 2 cards, these 2 4 cards, are talking to me about like feeling perhaps dissatisfied, or just like you're not, it just feels kind of like the energy is a bit stagnant is kind of how it's feeling. But with this Knight of Wands, I feel like there's something coming in here to shake that up a little bit, right? It's kind of feeling like a very quick transition, which is really interesting, or a very quick, fast-moving energy that's going to come in to sort of stir up the stagnant energy. But I feel like it might be something like a pet or something like that. Or like an animal, right? Like something that's like a soulmate of some sort, but like in an animal form. So maybe you're getting a new pet. I don't know. But it's kind of something like, so we also have here these 3 cards at the bottom of this deck. So the reflecting pool stillness, which is really interesting. And then we have the summer and the autumn cards, which is kind of where we are right now, right? It's kind of like this transition between summer and autumn, where it's like the weather is kind of in between, right? And it just got chilly as I was doing this reading, so I had to go get a scarf. So it could be something like something to warm you up, or help you through some sort of transition of the seasons. And that could be metaphorical, right? Like, so especially with this reflecting pool stillness, because the first 2 cards that we got in the actual spread part is the Dragonfly Spirit change and this foggy bog, right? Significant change is coming for you, is kind of how this is feeling. And with this foggy bog, because if you notice here in this reflecting pool, there's a bird there, right? And of course it looks like a swan, but it also looks a lot like this foggy bog bird, right? The crane, which is really interesting. And also with these, I was like really drawn to these lines today. And of course this one here has like tattoos on her arm that kind of look like this, which is really interesting because it feels like for you group 2, I almost said Sagittarius, so there may be a Sagittarius energy coming in, which to me represent like Sagittarian energy, of course ruled by Jupiter, so Wheel of Fortune, all of that. It's like some sort of significant change happening for you that perhaps leads to an expansion, of course with the summer, but also letting go of stuff that is no longer serving, or whatever it is, letting go of any of this sort of like 4 of Wands, no, not 4 of Wands, that's interesting, letting go of the 4 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, right? The stagnation, the non-movement. But anyways, what I was saying with these 2 cards is that I feel like you have been looking for something that reflects you, which is interesting here, right? Like whenever I see the swan, whenever I think about swans, it's kind of like, so first of all, soulmate for sure, but it's coming through the story of like the ugly duckling, right? Like the ugly duckling who looked different from the ones around them, and was perhaps ridiculed for it, or like suffered some sort of unsatisfying energy from the ones around them because they weren't reflected by the ones around them, right? So there could be something like that, especially because you have here so significant change on the horizon for you, but you have here this 8 of Cups to start, right? Which is all of that energy, because you can see here there's like all of these animals or whatever are paired, right? So it's kind of like seeing that there are others in your perhaps physical environment, or just like whatever it is that you're seeing or noticing is like those are a match, right? Everyone else has their match. Where's mine? Is kind of how this is feeling to me. Or if it's not match, it's like something that reflects you, or something that is fulfilling, or like, I don't know, something like that. Because what's really interesting, but again, with these animals, I don't know if it's just this deck or I don't know. I'm getting something like an animal, like a pet or something. Okay, Lovers and the Strength card. That's why this is that's why I'm like saying this. So I don't think I've ever seen these two cards side by side before, because both of these are paired with an animal, right? But the Lovers card to me is just representing like something that is meant for you, something that you choose and actively put energy and commitment into, which could be like a pet of some sort, or with the Strength card to me represents like it satisfies some sort of like need, or I always see this lion as being like in distress, right? I always see this one as being like in distress in some way. So it could be that it's very soothing, right? Like, you know how like animals, like pets, can be have a very calming effect on your emotional, mental, spiritual state. So it could be something like that. Or maybe you're just connecting with nature in a way that's like very like seeing your reflection in nature. Perhaps it could also be with this foggy bog and patience. I was also getting something like that what it is that you are receiving might not look like what you were expecting, is kind of how this is feeling. Like, it's like, especially with the swan energy, it's like you thought, no, it's not that, it's not like that. Just picking my words carefully. There's something here that I'm missing. It's kind of feeling like it takes time for the true picture to be revealed. It's kind of feeling like, because with the fog, it's like you need to wait until the sun comes out in order for the fog to clear. So it could be talking about getting clarity about a certain situation, or something that was unclear, or situation that you perhaps went into, but there was not a lot of clarity about that situation, or like why it is that there hasn't been the expected reflection or something like that. Especially with this, it's like it's not something that you, because it doesn't immediately look like a match to you. That's what it is. It doesn't immediately look like it's a reflection of you, because for whatever reason there's a fogginess there. It's not, perhaps it's like not something that you expected. The reflection is not something that you expected, but it absolutely is kind of what this is feeling like, which is interesting. The next card out you have here is the meandering pathway, the flow card. Because this card talks to me about like almost like just a distraction or a disruption or something unexpected on your path. And I feel like that's meant for you. Because sometimes we think about flow as being like you're getting a lot of stuff done, you're moving forward and all that. But sometimes, especially with like Sagittarian energy, like Jupiter energy, or even like Uranus energy, where it's like something unexpected comes into your path that there was no way for you to predict that, or it's like the universe put this in your path in order for you to stumble upon it, because it's kind of like you wouldn't have necessarily chosen this if you knew about it in advance, is kind of how this is feeling. So you wouldn't have chosen this thing if you knew about it in advance. Because I feel like it's kind of something like, again, this is what you're harvesting. I want to keep pulling. There's still something here that I'm missing. So it's kind of feeling like maybe you said yes to something without knowing the full conditions of what it is that you were saying yes to, but it's like but there's unexpected goodness that comes from this, right? It just perhaps feels a little bit, it's like suddenly getting, like, for example, it doesn't have to be this exactly, especially at this Knight of Wands. So this entire story actually is feeling kind of like the current news phenomena in pop culture right now. I feel like everyone knows what I'm talking about. This Knight of Wands character who's coming in and making this sort of like grand gesture kind of proposal kind of energy, right? Like that. It's kind of like that, where it's something like there's something coming in that's like unexpected, or like it's not like something that you're kind of just like, why is this showing up all of a sudden? Maybe that's what you're feeling like. And it's like, it doesn't seem like it would be a good match, but on some level it is what this is talking about. And it takes a bit of patience to figure out what that means. I don't know. Okay. And then we have here 4 of Swords, 10 of Wands, and the 9 of Wands. Because these are all like very independent energies, right? Like this 4 of Swords talks to me about like getting rest, which is interesting because it's a rest and then a lot of work. So I feel like maybe you've been doing a lot of things independently, or because that's part of the stagnation, right? Or like I don't want to use that word. It's not stagnation. It's stability, of course, but feeling dissatisfied in that stability. So it's like something is coming in to sort of shake that up or add excitement perhaps, or something new, but it feels like it would change your schedule, or it would require an adjustment of some sort. Because especially with these 2 cards, the 9 of Wands and the 7 of Wands, this is looking to me like this phenomena of a relationship that we're all witnessing at the moment, whether we want to or not. It's kind of feeling like this one who has been waiting for somebody who reflects them truly, right? And somebody who is almost like coming in as this Knight of Wands, full of grand gestures, full of all of this excitement around them, perhaps professing love of some sort, to show this one here, the 10 of Cups. We're a match, even if we don't look, or even if there are a lot of differences, right? Even though there are a lot of differences, we are a match. That's what this is. That's what this one is feeling like. So it could be that there's somebody coming in who it might be taking you off guard is kind of how it's feeling, or it's just like it's feeling very like, why is this coming in now? Or I wasn't manifesting this exactly, but it's like it's all of a sudden something's coming in that perhaps comes in with a lot of excitement, but also a lot of happiness and fulfillment, right? It's like you left, or with this 8 of Cups, it's like this is the dissatisfaction that we started with, and then this here ending with the 10 of Cups, all this emotional fulfillment, which is really interesting. But it doesn't look like, or there's something about this situation or the individual or the situation, whatever it is, that doesn't appear to be a match at first evaluation of it, right? Like it's unexpected, or perhaps a step out of a comfort zone. But it does take patience for you to sort of figure out what it is that, because it is a match to you. That's the whole point. It is a match. It just doesn't seem like it at first. Okay, group 2. I'm going to end it there. If this reading resonated with you, please consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment down below. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Hi, group 3. Let's get started with your reading. So the question is, what are you harvesting this harvest full moon? So we're starting off here, the overall context for this reading. King of Swords, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcanas and the Ace of Wands after that, which is like, normally I don't take this many cards at the bottom of the deck, but because there's 5 major arcanas and they're all very intense energies, I took them. So we have King of Swords and Ace of Wands. So I feel like that's really important. There's some sort of clarity about perhaps a new inspiration that's coming in with the Ace of Wands, because you also have here the Fire Spirit, and which is energy, and the Enlightenment Forest Temple. So enlightenment and clarity coming in for you about perhaps a particular new venture that you've perhaps been looking into with this Ace of Wands and the Fire Spirit energy. So something that energizes you, something that provides inspiration, creativity, something that really just like draws on your attention, like you enjoy doing. So there may be clarity about that coming in, and all of that is sort of including this. So you have the Justice, the Tower, Death, the World, and the Hierophant, which is so interesting to me that there's this many major arcana in a row. So major transition, right, with the Death card and the Tower. Some sort of like rebalancing or justice kind of energy, which is feeling kind of like so truth, right? So truth about perhaps like a transition or the end of a cycle. With the Hierophant, especially because of the book and the Ace of Wands, there may be some sort of like truth about your purpose, or an aspect of your story that's being reflected to you, or that is coming full circle in a way, like some sort of completion energy that you are getting clarity about, right? With this Hierophant, I see this as sort of like someone telling you a bedtime story, right? And then it reveals this sort of truth about your next step or something like that. And it could be very spiritual as well. So that's the overall context, which is incredible. There's so much there. But we're starting off here with the Bluebird happiness, which I love so much, right? Like you're harvesting happiness. And along with that, you also have here the Page of Cups, which I love. So a lot of, especially with these two, the colors, the orange and the blue, which is sacral chakra and throat chakra. So it really feels like some form of creative expression that you're finding a lot of clarity in, or that is like revealing somehow the next step. It's also feeling like because of both of these energies are feeling like very small, like not the word small feels like not the right word, but it's kind of like taking pleasure or joy in sort of like small moments or quiet moments, or like finding a lot of happiness and fulfillment in like just having a glass of tea, for example, or a mug of tea, or whatever that is. Just give me 1 second. So it could be that you are finding these sort of moments of peace and tranquility, and it's bringing about a lot of happiness, perhaps related to what it is that you're creating, or some form of like creative expression, or it doesn't even have to be related to that, just like something that gives you energy or fulfillment of some sort. And what's really lovely is that you have here as well the Queen of Swords. So you have the King and the Queen of Swords. I feel like the King of Swords is kind of talking to me about like your plans and actions and what it is that you are trying to go towards, like making plans or focusing your mental energy. And then you have the Queen of Wands here, which is coming in with the blue bird, which I feel like is talking about like receiving something. So the King of Swords is sort of like you directing your mental energy towards something, versus the Queen of Swords is like you're receiving perhaps a new vision, is kind of how this is feeling, right? Like it, especially because she has this sort of like a telescope. So perhaps seeing something up ahead that you are wanting to go towards, or like just seeing what's out there, or receiving a vision of some sort. Perhaps through your little miracles is kind of how this is feeling with the Page of Cups. There's all this energy of almost like a dollhouse was kind of how it's coming through, especially with these three next cards. You have the Daffodil Spirit, New Beginnings, and then you have this Nine of Cups and Six of Cups. So what these two cards are looking to me like, it's like you look into the telescope and you see this new beginning up ahead for you, right? So it feels like it might be like a future plan or something, like something that's a new beginning. But it's coming through with kind of like this energy of like Tinkerbell, and especially with these, the Six of Cups and the Nine of Cups, like this was looking to me like a doll, or like especially with the Six of Cups. So I don't know what that dollhouse energy is. It could be It could be something to do with like more playfulness, especially with this Page of Cups, because the Page of Cups talks to me about playfulness or innocence, or very like the word small keeps coming in, but it doesn't feel small is not quite the right word. I don't know why it's getting stuck there, but it's kind of feeling like just seeing something up ahead, and perhaps it's having to do with like daydreaming, or like almost like making a miniature version of what it is that you want to create in the far future. If that it's kind of like play acting, because I sometimes see this Nine of Cups as being sort of like a William Shakespeare kind of energy, like a play, like how kids play make-believe, or like, you know, when kids like play with Barbie dolls, right? It's kind of like in some way are expressing their dreams or hopes for the future. Maybe something like that. And again, it looks like she has like many telescopes, this Nine of Cups character. It's like maybe you're seeing a lot of potential pathways, maybe, or a lot of new beginnings, or maybe like William Shakespeare, you're writing a lot, or not writing. It's like you're perhaps like showing others their direction forward, or like where they can go, or again with this William Shakespeare, like it could be something to do with like it becomes something that you are known for, or maybe it's that it becomes something that you're known for, or that leaves a very long-standing impression, right? But it kind of feels like you're just playing with the idea of it for now, is what this is feeling like. So you're playing, it's feeling like this is a very significant new beginning, but it feels small. That's what it feels like. It feels small, but perhaps has much bigger sort of expansion in the far future, perhaps, but you're still at the envisioning stage, is kind of how this is feeling. Because the next card you have here is this Maple Spirit, generosity, right? And so this is talking about like a full expansion of what this is, but you may be just seeing the beginning aspect of it, right? Like you're touching upon or seeing some sort of vision of perhaps the far future for you, of something that you're going to be known for, or something that's going to be very long standing for you, with this Maple Spirit, which allows you to give back to others, is what that feels like. This card, the last time I pulled this card and did a reading with this card, I received a lot of gifts. There's also, because we're approaching this time of the year where I live, where there's just about like a few days where like all of the maple trees turn this bright red color, right? So it's in like a couple weeks, I want to say. So in a couple weeks, maybe you might be seeing sort of, or like receiving perhaps physical gifts, or like seeing the signs or experiencing things that are showing you this new beginning, right? It's like you may be seeing like the final stages of it, but not for you. It's kind of like maybe going someplace and seeing some sort of dream that you want to create. You're seeing the final sort of outcome or potential that provides a new beginning for you to work on, if that makes sense, especially because the world is here, right? It's like it could be something like you're reading a story, right? You read a story, but that actually tells you the full picture of what it is that you're going to be going towards, if that makes any sense at all. Like you finish a book, you read the book, and it's like, that was a great story, but it's kind of like you are at the beginning of that story, if that makes sense. And so it's kind of, in a sense, showing you the whole picture, like what it is that you will be stepping into, but you're still at the beginning stage. So you have here next the King of Wands, the Two of Swords, and the Empress, which I love so much because it's kind of like here at the King of Wands. To me, that talks about like your ability to move forward with a lot of purpose and direction and action. So a lot of intention, but I'm just seeing this as like the tree almost on fire, right? Because it's kind of like, if you're familiar with Bible stories, it's something like that with the Hierophant, like the Bible stories where it's like the burning bush. That's what this is looking to me like, which is kind of like a symbol or like a proof that God exists, right? Quote unquote. So it could be that you're receiving some sort of sign from the universe, whatever label you want to put on that, right? Signs from the universe that something that you wish to create, or that is meant for you, or that's on your path in some way, is real and possible, and like you're going towards it, is kind of what this is feeling to me like. And with here the Two of Swords and the Empress, because the Empress to me talks about receiving a lot of gifts, receiving a lot of abundance, but also nurturing some sort of new beginning. You're nurturing some sort of new beginning that's very long-term and long-standing. But with the Two Swords, it's like you're still in the visualization stages of it. I feel like you're not well, you might be. You might be sort of like in the planning stages, like, you know, when they're planning to build some sort of like a physical building, they make plans first. There's sort of like this blueprint. That could be what the dollhouse energy is. It's like making a blueprint or envisioning or making like a model home of like a small scale version of what it is that you are going to create in the future. But that takes a lot of planning and time and investment. So it could be something like that, but it's like there's a very significant new beginning happening for you that feels like it will be very long-standing, but you're just at the beginning stages. You're starting to make plans, or you're starting to see the direction that you're going to be going in, or what it is that you're doing, or what's ahead for you, which is really incredible. Group 3. So I'm going to end the reading there. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment down below. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.